hot outside. Dad, we got anything to drink?
I don't know, let me see. Well, we got all the New Zealand hops.
Hops? What, are we gonna chew them?
Well, of course not. We can make them into a delicious drink. Come on, let me show you how.
Woohoo! Sounds good, let's do it. Bro, how am I gonna make a refreshing drink out of all this?
Well, we're not just gonna use this. We have other ingredients. I'll show you how, son that's definitely over 21 years old. Right after you guys hit that like and subscribe button, grab yourself a beer, and we're gonna get after it. All right, I know you guys all hit that subscribe button because you're awesome, and you hit that like button because it helps out the channel a lot. But if you really, really want to be awesome, hit that join button below and become a channel member. Members enjoy awesome perks like some exclusive recipes, my brew day sheets to help you along the way and take some notes, and you get to watch my videos early before anybody else. So hit that join button and become awesome. All right, everybody, welcome back to Cityscape Brewing. I'm Dennis, and this is Bruce. He's gonna be joining us today to make a New Zealand Hazy. I mean, everybody makes a New Zealand Pilsner, but we're making a New Zealand Hazy because we're crazy.
Crazy and hazy.
Hazy crazy. So let's talk about that recipe. We're gonna start with that grain bill, and Bruce is gonna go through that for you. And what do we got going in the grain bill?
Well, for the base malt, we've got 8 pounds of Pilsner. And to bring some body and head retention in, we've got 2 pounds of flaked oats, 1.5 pounds of flaked barley. We're gonna throw some white wheat in there, 1 pound of that for a little haze, and 1/2 pound of honey malt to add some sweetness.
Gets a little bit of that sweetness in the background.
I really like the sweetness.
A little bit of something, something.
Oh, it's delicious.
Oh, you can't forget the honey malt. And then we're gonna go into the hops. And for our hops, we're gonna be using 3 different varieties of New Zealand hops. We're gonna be using Nectaron, Superdelic, and Rakau hops. And those are going to be super citrusy, tropical fruit, stone fruit, and even a little bit of dank with that Superdelic hop. But there's also like this candy-like flavor that you get out of that also that we're hoping to pull in to this Hazy IPA. And as usual, the water is really important for a Hazy IPA. So you're gonna wanna actually flip those chlorides and sulfates around. And so if you're making like a good IPA, for instance, like an American West Coast IPA, you can actually have higher sulfates. But for this, we want actually a higher chloride. So we usually do about 150 parts per million and about 50 parts per million for the sulfates. And I'll have all of that listed down in the video description below, along with this entire recipe, so you can go check that out. So with that, let's get this water heated up, get these malts milled up, and we'll get mashed in, huh?
Let's get to work.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So we're shooting for a mash. Just walk wherever you want, Bruce. All right, we're shooting for a mash temperature of about 152. Normally I would go a little bit lower, but you want that kind of malty bodiness with a Hazy IPA. So we're gonna shoot for that. We'll go ahead and turn on our heat. And then we are gonna also recirculate. So I'll make sure that I have my recirculation arm open here, and then we'll turn on the valve in the front to let that water start recirculating.
Pump it up.
We have all of our water additions in here already. The only thing we're gonna add is 4 grams of ascorbic acid as we're mashing in like we normally do, which will help with oxidation. That's super important for a Hazy IPA because they're a little bit more prone to oxidation with all those hops in there. All right, so we're getting up to temperature now. Right as we hit our mash temperature, I'm gonna go ahead and shut off the heat. The element's still gonna be warm, so that'll kind of continue to heat up. But as we add our grains, that should help kind of regulate the temperature a little bit. So after this hits to 152, we're gonna shut off the pump, and then we're gonna shut off the heat. So we'll just go ahead, it's pretty much close enough. We'll go ahead and shut off the pump and the heat. We'll make sure that our valve here is shut off. We'll get our lid out of the way, and Bruce is gonna start mashing in. For this one, we're also gonna be adding a little bit of rice hulls. We don't normally need to do this with the claw hammer, but we are going to add a little bit just because of the amount of the flaked ingredients that we're using and the amount of white wheat and stuff that we're using. So we'd add a little bit in the beginning, probably only about 1/3 of a pound or so total, but that'll help make sure that we're not getting anything stuck as we're kind of recirculating and make sure we don't get any dough balls and that kind of stuff all stuck together, because the flaked ingredients tend to be a little bit more like gelatinous, if you will. So. All right, now that we're good and mixed in, we're gonna add that ascorbic acid in there. And we're gonna get back to recirculating around. This will help again with that oxidation. All right, now we're all good and mashed in. We got it recirculating, got our heat turned back on. It's getting back up to 152. We're gonna go ahead and leave this for 60 minutes. We are going to come back several times throughout the mash here and stir it around, make sure we keep make sure there's no dough balls, make sure we keep everything recirculating because we want to try to get as many of those sugars off of those grains for our final wort.
Sugar is money. All right, we raised up the temperature to 170 for the last 10 minutes. Let's get ready for mash out. All right, now that we've been at 170 for about 10 minutes, we're gonna go ahead and cut our pump off and our heat.
Slowly pull out our basket here to drain our sweet, sweet wort.
Sweet stuff.
All right, we pulled our basket. It's draining actually over a bucket to get the last little bit of wort out here, but we're gonna get our claw hammer up to a boil. To do that, I use the manual mode. So I'll change this to manual by holding the AM button, and then I will move this up to 100%. That'll give 100% energy to the element at the bottom. We'll show our heat. And then when it gets up to a boil, we're gonna turn that down to 63% to keep it at a nice rapid boil. All right, as we get close to a boil, we'll add our firm cap S, again, just about like a teaspoon or so, and we give that a good stir around.
All right, we just set our heat to 63%, just achieved a boil. Gonna go ahead and take a hydrometer reading, see where we are. I shot it all over the floor.
That's what she said.
Also setting our timer for 1 hour. All right, we got 15 minutes left in the boil, so we're gonna add a ½ ounce of Nectaron. Naughty by Nectaron. At this time, we're also gonna add a teaspoon of yeast nutrient. Did I say a teaspoon?
Tablespoon. Tablespoon, he meant tablespoon.
That's a tablespoon of yeast nutrient.
All right, since we're almost done here, we're gonna hook up our Whirlpool arm because we're actually gonna be adding a ton of hops at the end. This will help it so it creates a nice hop cone at the bottom of our kettle and we don't transfer all that stuff into our fermenter. So this is the hose that we would normally recirculate back into the kettle and then eventually into our fermenter. We're gonna go ahead and hook on our Whirlpool arm, and then we're gonna go ahead and put this thing in the bottom. We wanna make sure that that's snug against the side of the kettle, and it's basically just gonna rotate that liquid around as we're recirculating and cooling down right away. So we got about 10 minutes left, and we'll start our cool down process. All right, we are at the end of our boil, so we're gonna go ahead and shut off the heat. We have started our water at our counterflow chiller rather. So we're gonna go ahead and open up the valves that we need for the recirculation, and then we're gonna go ahead and turn on our pump. All right, so now this thing is recirculating through our Whirlpool arm. We're gonna go ahead and help it out just a little bit by stirring it around kind of in a circle. That'll kind of get it kind of moving in the right direction, no pun intended. And this is gonna start cooling down. What we're gonna wanna do is keep an eye on our temperature here. When it gets to about 185 degrees, we're gonna cut the water off to start cooling. We want this to be in the 170s-ish range when we are whirlpooling for about 10 or 15 minutes. And so we don't want it to cool any further than that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually stop the water from recirculating, not the pump. We're gonna stop the water from recirculating. But we still want the wort to continue to recirculate through our Whirlpool arm, and it's back to about 180 degrees, so we're probably about safe to start saying we're gonna be in the 170s. I'm gonna give this a really quick stir around as we're adding these hops in. So go ahead and add those in. Got some Superdelic hops.
Some Nectaron.
Nectaron. Or Nectar off.
Some Raquel.
And Raquel hops. Moo moo buckaroo Raquel hops. All right, so those are all in. We have stirred it in a clockwise direction. Unless you are in New Zealand, then you would do it in a counterclockwise direction.
Southern hemisphere.
It's a whole southern hemisphere thing. So is the Whirlpool arms go the other direction in New Zealand? Probably. So we're gonna leave this for about 10 minutes from right now. And then we're gonna come back. We will start the rest of the cool down process but we're still gonna have it recirculating through our Whirlpool arm until it gets down to about the temperature we want to actually bring into our fermenter, and then we are going to start transferring it to that. Cool.
Very cool.
Look at that nice tight cone. Oh yeah. All right, all we gotta do is pitch our yeast and we are ready to go.
Pitch yeast, not fits.
We're gonna wait about 24 to 36 hours and then we'll be at about high Krausen and we're gonna be able to drop our dry hops in. Those are those dry hops that we're gonna be putting in a hop sack using some sous vide magnets. We'll be able to pull those magnets off, watch our hops drop into our wort, and that will start that biotransformation of all those good fruit citrusy flavors that we're asking for from those New Zealand hops. After that, we will let the fermentation completely finish, let it condition for about a week, cold crash it, and then we'll be back to taste this thing before you know it. So stay tuned and we'll see how things turned out. And after 15 minutes, this beer is completely done. And you're spilling all of it.
I'm sorry. Again, take two.
We only have 5.5 gallons. You can't spill any.
Yeah, sure.
All right. And just like that, it is done.
Dunzo.
Done. Give her a sniff.
All right. Right off the bat, I'm getting the hops. Fruity and juicy. Tropical fruit and stone fruit for sure.
Yep, and definitely some like orange notes and that kind of stuff in there.
Yeah, a little bit of citrus in there as well.
Like maybe some melon. Yeah, definitely the stone fruit. It's good.
Yeah.
And it's thick. That's what she said. So appearance-wise, it's really nice and hazy. It is got that really nice hazy look to it. It's it looks like orange juice, right?
Can't even see my fingers through
It's
that
really,
thing.
really nice. And it's holding a little head retention on there. It's actually probably would get a little bit better because this is only just a couple of days from being done and carved up. For right now, it's still lacing the glass pretty well.
Yeah, it is.
But right now,
Good.
the most important thing is, how does it taste?
The tasting. Let's see.
Cheers. Oh yeah, that's thick in my mouth too. That's a good mouth feel. Don't you think?
Definitely.
Have you had thicker?
I can't. Yes. Very juicy. It's very juicy.
I'm kind of hurt that you've had thicker though.
Right.
Kind of hurt. Oh yeah, so we actually did a little bit of the more sulfate than chloride ratio in here, or excuse me, opposite of that.
Yeah, we did
more
the opposite.
chloride than sulfate ratio. That helps with that little mouthfeel that you get on that. So it's a little more pillowy, soft mouthfeel in there, and it also helps kind of bring out that like almost like creaminess of the hazy IPA.
Yeah,
right?
that's the word I keep thinking of. It's definitely creamy. It's like a creamsicle.
Yeah,
kinda, you know?
yeah, you got a lot of that citrus fruit. You got a little orange. That stone fruit still comes through a little bit in the taste.
A lot of the aroma, it comes right through into the flavor as well.
You have to kind of think about it, but that little bit of honey malt adds that sweetness, kind of that pairs with like the citrusy hops and other things that you're getting in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Very really nice. What do you think?
Very nice. I'm a big fan.
On a score of 1 to 10, what would you give it?
10 and 11.
An 11?
That's a tasty brew.
Hey, you're gonna have to brew one of these. As always, we're gonna have all this stuff in the video description below. Go check it out. If you have any questions or comments, leave them underneath in the comment section. And as always, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Happy brewing, and cheers.
Brew. Cheers. Wow, thanks, Dad. This is delicious.
Hey, thanks for watching my video. You're awesome. You want to be even more awesome? Hit that join button and become a member. You'll get exclusive members-only recipes and other perks like Brew Day sheets, and watch my videos early as they drop before anyone else. So hit that join button below, become a member, and be awesome.